just bring in policies too. For sure.
Today we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was alive. The president never gave me any deadline.
It's another beautiful day here and a special welcome to Global Morning. It's Monday, the first working day of the week. Everyone is up and doing. Many people seems to see Monday as one of the days that you need to fix everything that was not well fixed from the previous week. And it's that day where you set the pace for the new week. And here we are to make you have a beautiful week. So good that you are joining us today as we get started. Global Morning is coming on your way right now. And of course, you know how loaded Global Morning used to be. My name is Ramsey Enoch Agbo, and of course, I'm not alone. As a matter of fact, there are so many things that happen on Mondays, and of course, on Global Morning today, the Tag Team Monday is always here to get your day started on a beautiful note. Well, power is power. You can't take that away. Okay, I'm going to define what power is, probably at the course of the program. We have different kinds of power. The powers that be, and the powers that make things to be. Well, that's my definition of power. So you can take it all from there. Juma is busy laughing right here because of my definition of power. And sometimes your experience go ahead of you. You learn from your experience.
Yes, you do.
And sometimes people learn from your experience too. And some experience are meant to make you, all right? And that's exactly the feeling I just had on my inside a few minutes ago.
Okay. Well, first of all, good morning to each and every one of you out there. It's great to be here. It's a beautiful Monday. And you said something very vital. You said people look at Monday as a startup week where you have to go back to the drawing board. Whatever you didn't do last week, you bring it on to this week. But I think, in my own point of view, Monday is a new week. You let go of all the negativity of last week and bring in positive vibe and start a new week so that the week can be refreshed with good things. All right, Ramsey, good morning. So that's my own take. And I wasn't giggling. It's just, you said power is power. I was just trying to wiggle my head around what you were trying to say.
Yeah, well, don't worry. You'll get to know about later. But then when I talked about Monday, I'm talking about, sometimes there are assignments that you couldn't finish last week, especially for the people in the financial sector. I've been there. So what you do is, as early as possible, you need to tidy up. Because if you don't tidy up what's last week, if you don't balance it up, you won't be able to start something fresh.
That's true.
So it's a time where you gather momentum. I think there is an extra energy, for Mondays that make you bring up the extraordinary game on.
Yeah, that's true. I think that's true. The momentum in which you can gather and
So,
have.
how was your weekend?
Well, weekend, amazing, fine. But some of us worked during the weekend. Like someone like me, I worked during the weekend. But it was something that we're used to. We love giving back when it comes to giving that information to all our viewers out there. It was amazing. It was okay. It was nice. It was good. It was calm. It was fine. Of course, no major happenings making around. But this morning when I was coming, I saw, this tipper truck, the one that I don't want to mention the company name. I saw it upside down today. Those trucks that you used to.
It fell.
I don't know what happened, but it was upside down.
It has fallen. Whether you know what happened or not, it fell.
I think they were trying to construct maybe a road or something. I think it's not a.
And it was upside down.
It was upside down. A very prominent company that owns that, and really, I was wondering what was the driver doing very close to that Carroll Bridge, but not the road that leads into Carroll. Upside down, and you just wonder. And like we keep talking about the street lights, there are no street lights in that Carroll exit from Carroll down to Nyanyamara, but there are no street lights at night. You know how pitch black those places are, and of course hoodlums can do a lot of menace when it comes to issues like that. I think those that are in charge to look into that and do the needful when it comes to these basic necessities. Street lights is very important. You need it, especially when you're walking or even when you're driving. For most people that their headlights, or would I say headlamps, are not bright enough, the street light can actually help to push that. So I think the needful needs to be done.
Yeah, the needful needs to be done.
It's very
I think,
important.
You've been preaching about this
yes.
a couple of weeks
Well,
now.
yes.
I want to believe the FCT minister and the people who work with him are listening. And
it's very important. It's so pitch black, it's dark when you're driving. It's really, really dark, and it's so dangerous, especially on that bridge. And the poles for the lights are there. That's the most painful thing in all of this. The poles for the lights are there.
The lights were working before it was
But
vandalized.
if it's bad or vandalized, then the needful needs to be done. Because of course that axis, we hear a lot of things that happen, and these are the precautionary measures that people are talking about. And at night, a lot of things on that bridge, miscreants can actually create a diversion, and of course robberies can take place if you're not aware and all of that. So it's very important the needful is done, and please, I hope the FCT minister, our Mr. Project, is listening to this at this point, and let there be lights in that exits from Carroll downwards. It's very important. All of these things are very important. And water.
And water?
And water. Let's not forget water. These are basic necessities.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
Water.
Not just the Carroll access alone, but then I think the FCT
what is happening with water
is trying in terms of infrastructure.
Very true.
But then there are some things that are basic necessities.
That is it.
Right? Basic, and it is basic, and it is a necessity.
Yes, it is.
All right. So what we need to do is to ensure that these basic necessities are put in place.
True.
Then moving away from there, talking about vandalism, the transmission company of Nigeria over the weekend have appealed to host communities to take ownership of power equipment and stop vandals from vandalizing it.
Very important.
And this has to do with relationship, because I keep saying it, sometimes some of these things you vandalized are for your use. So you don't need to vandalize government properties, because you call them government properties, but they are actually public properties. They are there for you. Imagine someone vandalizing high tension cables, maybe power plants and all of that. Then in your community, you don't have light for a very long time because one person carried out this activity and everyone is quiet because they feel, well, it is government property, it's none of my business. At the end of the day, you stand to suffer the same loss. So TCN, is saying, please, host communities where these things are located should take responsibility and take ownership of these public properties and stop anyone trying to vandalize this equipment, so that we can have that sense of ownership. But then, apart from just saying it, TCN have a role to play. What's the relationship? How has the relationship between these people who are in charge of power and the host community be the same community that fixed the transformers for themselves? The same community wouldn't have to buy poles to step down light and all of that. You discover that most times when they buy transformer, the community protects that transformer with everything they have. All right. Despite that, I think the preaching should be a door-to-door preaching, door-to-door message. Let these people know, conscientize them. Give them the sense of belonging, the sense of ownership, so that they can protect these properties. If you are increasing our power bill, you should communicate to the people. This is the reason why you are going to start paying 5 naira instead of the 3 naira you've been paying. If there is going to be a reduction, there should also be a communication. Those of us who are communicators, we know the importance of communication. Any communication where there is no feedback, you've not communicated yet. And if you go ahead to do whatever you want to do without communicating to your subordinates or your superior, there tends to be infractions, and there tends to be coerced. There tends to be incidences that will be detrimental to the process. So it's very important for us to educate the community, Nigerians, about these public infrastructures. They belong to us, all right? Because if those infrastructures, those machines, those equipments are not there, you won't be able to have light in your community. So let's take ownership of it, like they've said.
And let's talking about ownership and accountability is very important. You mentioned something very vital. You said that when we say it's public property, but really it's not. It's not really. It's public property, yes, but it's for your own beneficial use. It's very important that we understand that. And I like the fact that host communities are actually giving that particular hand, that individuals should please protect it. Is very important, because when they vandalize all of these things, it will cause issues. Right now there might not be light in the areas in which you live in, and it's just unfortunate that this is what we see. People think, these vandals think this is the fastest way to make money. You know, Ramsey, they say this is the fastest way to make money. They sell what the government has put in place for that basic amenities for you and I, and it's just unfortunate that people do not understand that that is not the way. It's going to affect individuals in that whole environment. Like, you know when you're driving, there's this metal on the floor. I think it's for the sewage or something.
Yeah, it's for sewage.
Yes, it is, right? And then these vandals have actually removed that lid on it.
I think some of them were caught in Abuja recently.
Do you know that particular act can lead to accidents?
Sure.
It can lead to the vehicle somersaulting, especially when the tire is stuck in there, and there'll be someone that is coming with speed and the tire is stuck. It can just somersault. Do you know the hazard and the ills that it can cause in our society? So these vandals need to be checked. It's a menace as far as I'm concerned. And can you really say, although I don't want to blame this on unemployment, I don't want to blame this on the hardship, but I think some vandals feel this is the best way to get their message put across. Because when you look at it, some people are the inflation when it comes to food, the hike in electricity tariff, data, unemployment, a lot of happened, the high cost of living when it comes to housing, a lot of these, and most of these individuals are unemployed individuals who, you'll be surprised, some of them are graduates who actually demean themselves to this act just to prove a point or just to put food in their stomach. So I think the government really needs to look into it, and a lot needs to be done. I think an example needs to be, put in place so that these vandals will understand that this is a very serious issue. It is causing havoc to lives in the society. And it's just unfortunate that this is where we find ourselves right now at the moment. But we pray, like I said, I'm a very positive individual. I love my country, Nigeria. There's no other country aside Nigeria, because this is where I can actually express myself. Because when you travel abroad, when you travel outside the shores of Nigeria, you'll be surprised. There's some things that you cannot get away with. But this is my homeland. There is no place like home, they say. But at the same time, let us try as much as possible to be positive and know that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
I think I love that. In the words, I wanted you to say, in the words of our amiable president,
yes,
His Excellency Bola Ahmed Tinubu,
yes,
there is always going to be light at the end of the tunnel.
Very true.
And of course, we're having good reports. But then, before we get to look at the papers, the issue of building collapse in Nigeria is becoming serious.
Rampant.
The one that happened at Idiaraba, Mushin in Lagos recently, that claimed the life of someone lost his life under the rubbles. Now, how did we get here? Nigeria, we have very good qualified engineers.
Yes,
here,
we do.
But then the issue of managing materials.
That was what I was going to say.
See, can I tell you the truth? Apart from managing materials, there are buildings in Lagos. I stay in Lagos. There are buildings in Lagos that if you see those buildings, you will know that these buildings are old, but people still live inside.
Yes, and that is the high cost of living. That's the high cost of living that we're talking about. People cannot afford accommodation, and of course the high cost of building materials. It is on the high. And you know the worst part in all of this? Because individuals, manufacturers, individuals that produce these building materials, when it comes to cement, when it comes to the blocks and all of that, because they know that many individuals cannot afford it, they give that low. I'm looking for the low quality when it comes to cement and of course the blocks. I've seen a house
and the roads especially.
I watched a clip that a man held blocks and he was like, you know how you hold with his hands, and he was like,
can I tell you something?
I was like, what?
See, growing up, you know, there's this thing they used to do. There are these people they call Superman, these guys with muzzle. If you want to test their strength, what they do those days is you put a block. I think there was even an advert to that effect.
Yes.
They'll put a block and the person will hit a block.
Yes.
By the time the block scatters, it means that person is very strong. But now you don't need to do that. Just with a finger, no matter who you are, just strike the block and you see the thing scattering. So recently, I picked up a block and the thing removed. As I was picking it's removed, and I was wondering what's happening.
That is it. That is where we are now. That's what I'm telling you. That's where we are now. A lot of people are finding the easy shortcuts. That's the word. Shortcut to make ends meet. And they do not realize that there's always a very hazardous effect at the long run.
Joy, do people do that for their personal houses or the houses they put out for rent?
One, the houses they put out for rent, and individuals who sell these materials, who manufacture these materials, always want to cut corners so they can sell more. Because if I go to you that you sell the right thing and you say, okay, you sell your block for, I'm giving an instance, let's say you sell your block for 800 naira, and you see someone like, okay, don't worry, I can sell for 400 naira. Where are you going to go to, Ramsey?
So in fact, wisdom demands that. I don't know, for me, the margin is so much. If you tell me others are selling for 800 and you want to sell for 7, probably 7, just a discount of 100 naira, probably because I am buying so many. It's considerable. But when you tell me 400 naira, as in 400 naira difference, it's much.
And then you run to the one with 400, and that's the truth. Because you're human.
The average Nigerians, even if it is 1 naira you're reducing for them, they will rush there.
Exactly. And that's why most manufacturers are taking advantage of that and making materials that are not up to standard. And that's why you see so many collapse. I know someone that actually trusted a family member. The husband was far away, and then the architect or people that build the house was telling him, no, what you're doing, you're telling this man to add so much sand instead of cement. It's going to cause problems in the future. And he was like, no, there's nothing like that. Just add the cement and add the sand and all of that. And the building collapsed. So you can imagine an individual starting from scratch. It's very painful, but because we have to. But the truth is, at the beginning, you won't see it as that. It's something that happens at the long run. And individuals, they need to create that awareness that you must use materials that are of standard. These materials, these blocks, these cements need to be checked. Individuals who own all these prominent building materials, they need to be checked from irons.
Can I ask you a question?
Do.
What's Standard Organization of Nigeria doing?
That is the question.
We have people who are supposed to monitor this process.
Exactly.
To know what people are doing.
That's where I was coming to. Standard Organization of Nigeria. They have a very big role to play. But the truth is, no one cares. No one monitors. No, that's the truth. And that's where we are. That's why we see, now let me deviate it, but that's why you see the collapse of dam everywhere. at the beginning, the one in Maiduguri, individuals, when it got out of hand, they said, okay, the truth is there was a crack on it, but we decided that that's the thing, Nigerians, our nonchalant attitude, and that's what leads to so many
Bad maintenance culture.
Bad maintenance culture, and it's just unfortunate, and that's why you see lots of building collapse at this point. And you know what? You know the worst part of it all? The lives. Even if it's one. Even if it's one, it means a lot. That's someone, it could be someone's father, the breadwinner, someone's son, it's very important. It is so painful. But you see, that is what it is. Because look at what is happening. The hardship is much. A lot of people are going through a lot.
That's it. But then I think it's wisdom enough, okay, to do the best thing that you can, because every single life that has been lost on your account of carelessness, God will hold you responsible.
Yes, but
then Nigerians, because of the economic situation,
yes,
a lot of people cut corners.
Oh yes, that's the way. That's what people do. That's what people do.
Cutting corners. But then it is wisdom. Let's give an instance now. If it is for business purpose, you're building maybe an estate for people to live inside, to pay rent. By the time that building collapses, you're starting from afresh.
Yes, you must start from afresh.
If it's your own personal building, you are also going to start from the scratch.
Very true.
Which is not the best.
Penny wise.
Pounds foolish. So what you need to do is, what they need to do, people who do things like that, what they need to do is, there is no hurry in life. Pick it up gradually. You will get there. Rome wasn't built in a day. You don't start a building today and you expect to finish in 1 month, 2 months.
But the truth
just do it gradually.
But the truth is, no one wants to do it gradually. Do you know why? In a place like Abuja, where a self-contained goes for, it depends on the places. Places like Maitama. Let's go on a quick break. All right, you're welcome back from that very quick and very short break. Talking about this particular issue at hand. Now, like Ramsey, a place like Abuja now, it's a catchment area when it comes to housing. When you go to places like Maitama, you go to Asokoro, you go to place of prominence, you'll be surprised. Self-contained goes for as high as, you can get self-contained for 2.5 million naira. And the apartment,
no matter the size.
No matter the size. It depends on where you are.
Where you are.
And then you can get a 2-bedroom for 4 million naira. I know places, I don't want to mention the places, they won't come and carry us here. So girl, that a 2-bedroom was going for 4.5. I was like, are you kidding me? So individuals want to hurry up and build so that they can make that sort of return. So it doesn't matter whether the material is good, sophisticated or not. It's only people that have that clear conscience that, hey, what I'm doing is going to have an effect, even if the house can manage and stay for like a year or two, but we rest assured that it will not
they just want to feel, I'll make my money within this space of time.
Exactly. But
so it doesn't matter.
But the truth is, you will still start again, because that house cannot stand the test of time of 10 years.
I think the bottom line is that the authorities need to rise to the occasion.
Very important.
If any building collapse, it should be investigated. What's happening? What's the problem? Where did it get started from? Is it from the engineer? Is it from the architect? Is it from the foundation? Where is the problem?
Exactly.
Is it from the owner or the people who built their house? So these are things we should take into consideration. Our time is fast spent, and of course we needed to talk about this because it is becoming too rampant.
Yes, it is.
Let's take a quick break. When we return, we'll look at the pages of the national dailies to see what the papers are saying. We'll be back after this break.
All right, you are welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning on Global Television. And all about this point, it is the newspaper review segment. And the first paper we'll be delving into is the Punch newspaper, giving us some very punchy stories. And above the nameplate, we have here, it says here, Tinubu Obi Fayemi share light moment at Pope's inauguration. And you can find that read on page 9 of the Punch newspaper. And here says CBN slashes federal government loan by over 14 trillion naira. And you can find that read on page 33, and that's a picture of course, the CBN governor there, Cardoso. And beside the nameplate of the Punch, it says here, resurgent attack, federal government, Borno revamp anti-terror strategy. And that's a picture of General Christopher Musa over here, and you can find that read on page 8. And the star story there, 2027 coalition, Atiku camp offers Obi VP role in one-term deal. And the writer says opposition leaders may dump SDP for ADC as new coalition platform. Well, let's see how well that goes, and let's see if it's beneficial to Nigerians and, of course, Nigeria. And on page 33 on the Punch, it says federal government's electricity debt balloons by 800 billion naira. And that's from the Senate. And it says Jakpa doctor drain devastates 12 states. Page 7, unfortunate when it comes to our health care. And you see, that's the Jakpa, and it's taking a toll on Nigeria. I will not lie. It's taking a big toll.
Seriously,
it's taking a toll. It's taking a toll.
I think everyone is seeing it.
It's taking a toll.
The effect you can't take away. You can't even hide the effect.
No, you cannot.
Right now.
I sorry to budge. The truth is, with all our doctors jackbarring, if there's a word like that, leaving, the ones that are patriotic enough to remain
should be treated well.
Not only that, I think by now, those that actually jackpot should turn back and say, oh my goodness, if I knew, I won't have jackpot. Because the government has realized that we are of great use to our nation. And that is why they have decided to, give the healthcare sector an uplift, especially when it comes to our doctors, our nurses, all of these individuals in the health sector. They are of great use to us. But those that have jackpot still turn around and say, did I not tell you to leave at about that time?
All the people are warming up.
And people, I like the fact you said warming up. A lot of doctors are warming. Like I know two now that say, Jubai, before I'm telling you, I'm leaving. Seriously. Like it's just unfortunate that it's just so sad. And I know a doctor that says, do you know what, Jumai, I have not rested. I've attended to like 100 people. I have not slept. So if I give wrong medication, will they blame me? I said, they will blame me because if you kill anyone, we'll come and carry you here. But it's just unfortunate that this is where we are. And the government is not doing anything about it to make those other doctors that have jackpot to actually regret their actions by leaving us like this. But it's just unfortunate that this is where we are. I keep saying, but keep hope alive. I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of goodies that will be done. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Yes, for everyone wondering, Juba, I see hope in Nigeria, and I know that things are going to be fine by the grace of God. All right, I'm still on the Punch newspaper now. It says here, below the feet of the Punch newspaper, it says, Tinubu approves licenses for North Oil project. Kwara governor urges calm after boat tragedy claims 37 lives. And here it says, Lagos probe Castina workers, recruitment by Dangote refinery. And you can find that read on page 9. And one of the topic that actually caught my eye here that says Kwara governor urges calm after boat tragedy claims 37 lives. And you say to yourself, I can just beat, no, I will not, but it's very true. I know for a fact that most individuals in that boat did not have a life jacket. I know for a fact. That's the truth. It's not like them hearsay, but that's the truth. And that's what we have seen, that they do not have a life jacket. People do not understand that life jackets are very important. At least the toll of death would, every life matter, but it won't be this high if there was a life jacket and if the individuals were not overcrowded in that boat. I think there's so many things that can be averted. It's not, do you know, it's not everything that you need to pray about. There's some things that you can actually avert by yourself. So it's just unfortunate that all of these things are happening. These are something that we can actually avert, but unfortunately, this is what it is. And of course, Rams will be taking us to the next paper. Ramsey, please go ahead.
All right, let's quickly look at the Nigerian News Direct this morning. And above the nameplate, Adeleke never sacked any worker. Osun Governor clarifies. This one says Lagos to begin full enforcement of single-use plastic ban on July 1st. The Tinubu economic reform, that's the kicker. Foreign debt drops to $94.22 billion from $113 billion. Details read on page 5. How to boost downstream sector growth in 2025. 11 Peak MD Oyebanji is the one saying that. Then we still have this one which says Shetima, Adeleke, Oyebanji, Uzodima, others storm Ogun as 2025 Gateway Games kick off. All right, Ogun State, that's where the 2025 Gateway Game is taking place. And now to the star story on the Nigerian News Direct this morning, which says, we must work tirelessly to preserve Nigeria's unity. That's the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu speaking right there. And just to write us to that story, and the first writer says, meets Obi, fire me at Pope's inauguration in Vatican City. And then the second writer says, reiterates commitment to national cohesion amid diverse faith. That's so good. And of course, the president's traveling for the inauguration. A lot of people were saying so many things, and that's to tell you of how recognized Nigeria is.
Yes.
And in some of the papers on social media, it was being said that the president told Obi and Fayemi that, well, he is the leader of the team Nigeria right there at the Vatican. That's so good.
And surprisingly, his son Sheyi was there.
Well, I think some person said Sheyi somehow to an extent is the way he walks with the father. The way he works with the father.
He's understudying.
Some persons say he's understudying. He's been with the father all the while.
Yes.
But in this capacity, you know, this is the first time the father has been
honored like this.
You know, unlike before that, he has held some other political positions, but he's seriously understudying, and some persons are even saying that he's not doing badly. You know, it's a coin.
Yeah.
And every coin have two sides.
Yes, it does.
And your study of the coin depends on the side from which you are looking at it from.
Very true. And then you see, I know a lot of people will say he doesn't have any political appointment and he's acting like a governor. But there's this speculation, alleged allegations, according to Two-Face Idibia, allegedly that he wants to be the governor of Lagos State. That's the allegations at hand. I didn't say it. Global Television did say it's one is making rounds. Check the internet, it's there. But at the same time, don't you think that if you were in Sheyi Tinubu's shoes, you do the same thing? Let's not crucify him yet. But the truth is, his father is the president.
I'm not even crucifying him.
But a lot
there
of
was a time people sang his praise everywhere.
Well, wait a minute. But it's not what some people are saying.
No, this is politics.
I know.
Everyone, you have people on this side, you have people on the other side. So whatever you do, people will say, whether good or bad.
And people were like, and you know, there's this particular video that is making around that people were like, his father was with the Pope, and they shoved him aside to move, people will say lots of things, but at the same time, everyone should just take a breather, take a chill, just calm down, and ask yourself, if you were the president of Nigeria, will you not carry your son or your daughter along to understudy you because you want the same glory upon that child? Like, really, let's not be greedy and let's not say things that, till we're in that position, I think we shouldn't judge. But at the same time, I think there should be a balance. For as much as you are the president's son and you want to understudy your father, you want to be in functions with him, I see nothing wrong with it at all, like seriously. But at the same time, don't make it too obvious that you are in the limelight.
The same thing that I said is what I'll keep saying.
What are you saying?
Whatever you do, people will say.
Yes.
whether negative or positive.
True.
And this is politics.
Yes.
In every politics, there is an opposition.
Uh-huh.
And that's what makes it politics. So whatever you're doing, and you know it's okay, all right? And
You in your mind, don't think in your mind that it's okay. Let people around you listen to advice.
if I tell you that I told you that there are some people who are singing the praises of the president's song.
People are saying that because his father is the president, you have no choice than to sing.
Saying he's overdoing.
Okay, great.
So it is both sides. So that's whatever you do, you know, there are people that will be for and against.
Of course.
You should know what is good, you know, at Sheyi's age. I think Sheyi knows what is good, and he's not new in politics. That's the truth.
But as
Sheyi has been following his father right from time.
Following your father is different from holding a political office.
No, he's not holding a political
That's what I'm
office.
telling you. So let's just say he's not yet in the game. Where you are qualified to say you are in the game is when you have held a political assignment and you have can I please finish, because we have to talk about this, very important. It's when you have held a political appointment and you are in that office and you are giving you actually give roles to individuals to actually attend to. That's when you can say, oh, I am in the game of politics. But if you're still trying to wiggle your way around and trying to get that balance, you're not there yet. You still have to be in an office. You have to be tagged as, you have to have a political appointment before you can say and hit your chest and say, hey, I am in this political game. You're not yet there.
But you know that there are politicians who have not held public offices, who have not held political offices before, but they are serious politicians.
Yeah.
Do you know that we have kingmakers?
That's what
Do you know that we have people who are underground politicians? You don't see them in the forefront, but there are politicians.
But the truth
we
is,
have stakeholders. We have elder statesmen.
listen, I'm not disputing that fact. I'm not disputing that fact.
There are some politicians that will never be governors, they will never be senators, some are not even interested, but then there are politicians who are politicking on the ground, and even the people in political offices are answerable to them.
But are you
fathers that are not even political?
That's what I'm telling you. Listen to what I'm saying. I'm not saying all of these things do not exist, but at the same time, Ramsey, do you know these individuals? As far as I do not know you, as far as you were not sworn into office, I do not know you
As a politician,
I'm just saying. It's just my own opinion. And the truth of the matter is that, like, for someone like Sheyi Tinubu now, I am just saying, you're still new in the game. You're learning a lot of, you're still learning. Till when you hold a political appointment.
can I ask you a question to put on the hold?
I don't work for the president.
No, I'm not all about the president. Have you done anything or said anything before and they say, hi, this woman a politician? Have you said anything or you do anything and say, hi, well, this woman a politician?
But am I really a politician? Do you recognize me as a politician? It's two different things. You can actually give that synonym to an individual that, hey, this person acts or think like a politician, but are you really a politician? That's in English now.
Let's move on. Later on, we'll get to see what's the definition of a politician.
We need to.
Who is a politician?
It's just Jumai Martin's point of view.
Yeah, that's your point of view, which you are entitled to.
Exactly.
And of course, I think we are done with the Nigerian News Direct. Let's move to the next paper, even though our time is fast spent.
Really. And of course, the next paper here, we're looking at the Daily Trust. And below the nameplate of the Daily Trust here, it says here that how Boko Haram killed 90 farmers in Borno in 5 months. A very sad read there, very, very sad. And says, opposition kicks as Northwest APC endorses Tinubu for second term. And you can find that read on page 15 of the Daily Trust. And it says here 37 people die in Kwara boat accident, which you can find on page 10. Unfortunate incident there. And then the star story there says automatic tickets, contracts, fueling defections to APC. And you can, go to the page 3, 4, and 5 and get that read. And below the foot of the Daily Trust here, it says bandits kill 49 in Castina, Kebbi, and of course, Benue. unfortunate there. And of course, that's a picture story of Pope Francis the 14th, and of course, our dear President, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in the inauguration ceremony. And like I've mentioned, we spoke about the 37 people that died in Kwara State boat collapse, and I said for me it could have been averted, because if you look at it, I don't think 39 of them, or will I say yes, 37 of them, pardon me, had on life jackets. So it's very important. I'm still talking about insecurity. Boko Haram killing 90 farmers in 5 months. That's a lot. That's a lot. And it's very painful to read, really. It's just unfortunate. And these farmers are the ones that actually, food. That's why there's so much inflation when it comes to food, because of the insecurity that is ongoing in these places. And talking about the endorsement of the Northwest, APC endorses Tinubu for second term. A lot of individuals are now coming up to endorse Tinubu for second term. Of course, the former wife of the President Goodluck Jonathan, Patient Jonathan, endorsed Tinubu and said she gives her support for second term.
So she doesn't want to go to Asherok anymore.
She doesn't want to, yes. Exactly.
The president's wife and the president.
Exactly. So we can see that. And of course, talking about automatic tickets, contracts, fueling defections to APC. We've seen a lot of defections lately, a lot. And individuals that people were like, oh, some will tell you, I'm not surprised that this and this and this are going to APC. But some will tell you, oh my goodness, they didn't see that coming. So a lot of defections are going on. And bandits kill 49, Katsina, Kebbi, and Benue. Of course, those are terror states at the moment. But we hope that the security agents will do the needful to curb this menace that is destroying properties and taking lives. And that's it on the Daily Trust. Please go out and get yourself a copy and be well informed on the news making rounds. And Ramsey, next paper.
Yes, let's quickly flip through the pages of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. What do we have on the Vanguard newspaper? Still the issue of herdsmen and bandits striking in Benue, Kebbi, Imo, Ondo, Kogi, killing 33 persons. Some riders to that story, and of course the first rider says state police will stand tide of insecurity. Afenifere is the one saying that. And of course, moving away from there, Zulum begs federal government not to allow Mate fall. Details read on page 13. Well, the issue of banditry, Benue and Ondo, Kogi, Kebbi, Imo State have been on the red alert recently, including Plateau State. But then I think the authorities are on top of their feet. They're on their feet, trying to make sure that is being averted. Manufacturing sector rebounds as revenue profits soar. Details read on page 19. Then Pope Leo's inauguration, Nigeria's unity in diversity, work in progress. That's Tinubu saying. Nigeria's unity in diversity, work in progress. That's the president speaking from the inauguration of the Pope. And of course, just one right to that story, and it says meets Obi Fayemi Catholic bishops at the Vatican. That's details on page 11. This one says Abdul Razak mourns as 37 passengers drawn in Kwara boat mishap. This is not the first time this is happening, and of course I wonder why this keeps happening. Like my colleague said, I don't even think those carrying out this transportation, this waterways transportation, have life jackets.
No, they
I
don't.
think they do.
They don't.
And that's hazardous. It's dangerous for you to even be on the waterways without a life jacket. The people who made life jackets available, they know why they did that. Maybe some lives may have been saved.
And you know what, just to add to what you've just said, and some of the life jackets that these individuals have in those particular areas, there's nothing in it. That cannot even save a life. There's no air in it for you to stay afloat in case anything happens. They are dilapidated. They need to be equipped with these life jackets. Very, very important.
The question that I keep asking is, who supervised this this transportation, this means of transportation? Who is supervising? Every attention is NUWT, you know, the road transport workers and those on the road. What about those on the waterways?
Exactly. Very important.
They should also have their unions. They should be monitored and supervised.
Very importantly.
Yeah.
And in the voice of Omomi, if you ask me.
Who I go ask.
Okay.
Okay. As a matter of fact, from the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have the picture story of the president giving a handshake to the Pope. And of course, that's going to be the size of the headlines. Our time is fast spent. Maybe we can just take one before we get hooked up with the AM News at 8 o'clock.
Yes, very true. And at about this point, let's move on to the Nation newspaper. And above the nameplate, it says MPC to retain interest rate in bid to bring down inflation. And of course, Ben Cardoso is there. And we can find that read on page 1. And here it says, Yakase, nobody has capacity to unseat Tinubu. And of course, that read also is on page 8 of the Nation newspaper. And it says, can Nigeria first policy fire up sluggish manufacturing sector? And you can find that read on page 2, 3, 5, and 6 of the Nation newspaper. And the Star story there says, let's convert our diversity to prosperity, says Tinubu. And the rider says, President Pope's inauguration mass, Leo XIV pledges peace in the world. And so talking about the boat accident, 37 die in Kwara boat accident, unfortunate incident. And at the foot of the Nation newspaper, it says here that a mockery, Utomi's shadow government plan alliance Alake Honori's electric vehicle plant coming. All right, now we are going to wait and actually see that. And that's the size of the newspaper review on the Global Morning. Up next is the AM News. Do not go anywhere. The program continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
disbursing upkeep of 20,000 naira.
Know that you cannot talk about a healthy nation if you don't have means to produce your own in addition to importing.
The CG is the principal actor of this because it's within her jurisdiction. Minister is a supervisor.
We must run in accordance with the Constitution of CAN, where you have just a single time.
The human factor, you have the infrastructural factor, then you have the mechanical factors.
The Senate, with all due respect, they were so hasty in passing that judgment.
The statement I'm about to make is we're not even aware.
That is the future.
You have to be aware before you can begin to be prepared.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is
The All Progressives Congress APC, under the leadership of its national chairman, Dr. Abdullahi Umar Ganduje, CON, cordially invites the national leader and President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, Vice President Kashim Shettima, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, Deputy Senate President, Barrow Jibrin, Speaker Tajuddin Abbas, Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu, APC governors and deputies, former presidents and vice president, members of the National Assembly, National Working Committee, National Caucus, National Executive Council, state chairman and other key stakeholders at all levels to the APC National Summit, themed Renewed Hope Agenda, the journey so far. Date 22nd May 2025, time 10 a.m, venue Banquet Hall, Presidential Villa, Abuja. Announcer Senator Sirajuddin Ajibola Basiru, National Secretary.
Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to AM News on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. You can download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. Now the news in full. At least 37 traders have died in a boat mishap in Jigbomodu community of Kwara State. The traders were reportedly returning from the weekly market in Niger State when the accident occurred. The boat, said to have capacity of 100 passengers, was overloaded, with claims linking the accident to the overflowing river. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has met with the newly inaugurated head of the Roman Catholic Church, Pope Leo XIV, following a solemn inauguration mass held at St. Peter's Square, Vatican City. The event marked the official beginning of the papacy of His Holiness Pope Leo XIV, who was elected as the Bishop of Rome and spiritual leader of the world's 1.3 billion Catholics. President Tinubu was among several world leaders present for the inauguration. The chairman and chief executive officer of Nigeria's Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, Abike Dabiri Erewa, has called for whole of government and whole of society approaches against human trafficking in Nigeria. She made the declaration at a strategic meeting with Hajia Binta Bello, the Director General of National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, at her office in Abuja. Dabiri Erewa noted that while progress have been made, more needs to be done, with a call for traffickers to be named and shamed as part of enforcement of strikers' penalties aimed at discouraging other criminal actors. The administrator of the Presidential Amnesty Program, Dennis Otoro, has urged youths in Niger Delta to promote peace, unity, and shared vigilance for the region's progress. As the Ijaw Nation marked this year's Borough Day celebration, speaking at the event held to honor the legacy of late Ijaw freedom fighter Major Isaac Jasper Adeka, Borough Otuaro, the need emphasized the necessity of intellectual engagement and active participation in governance as modern tools for advocating resource control. The crisis in the People's Democratic Party, PDP, has continued to escalate with no resolution in sight, despite the appointment of former Senate President Bukola Saraki and 6 others to the Reconciliation Committee ahead of the May 27th National Executive Committee meeting. Senior party members reportedly believe that Saraki-led panel's endorsement of Senator Samuel Anyanwu's return as National Secretary has created more problems. Decisions is said not to have gone down well with the PDP Governors Forum, members of the National Working Committee, Board of Trustees, and other party stakeholders, a situation that has reignited tension within the party. Ahead of the 2027 presidential election, the All Progressive Congress APC Northwest Zone has endorsed and passed a vote of confidence on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The endorsement followed a stakeholders meeting comprising all governors of the region, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Deputy Senate President, as well as former governors from the zone. The national chairman of APC, chairman of state chapters, state and federal legislators, as well as ministers, head of federal agencies, including senior political appointees, were also at the meeting that held in Kaduna. Meanwhile, leaders and stakeholders of the All Progressive Congress APC in Yaba local government development area have demanded the conduct of fresh chairmanship primary ahead of the July 12 local government elections. In a letter addressed to the chairman of the APC Electoral Committee, Babatunde Ogala, the group strongly criticized the reported selection of a candidate without due process, describing it as undemocratic, provocative, and a direct affront to the will of the people. The group warned that any attempt to impose a candidate could erode party unity, provoke internal unrest, and damage the party's credibility and electoral prospects in the local council development area. Now, Borno State Governor Babagana Zulum is in collaboration with the federal government to review strategic aims at confronting the recent resurgence of attack in the part of the state. He announces during a statewide broadcast where he reaffirmed his commitment to strengthen local security architecture, enhance intelligence gathering and support frontline security personnel with necessity tools. Zulum said in the recent months he has held extensive consultations with our federal partners and the leaders of various security agencies, and the collaboration between Borno State and the federal government is stronger than ever. Nigerian Meteorological Agency (NIMET) has announced an extension of the suspension of a strike following what they described as partial progress made after the intervention of the Minister of Aviation Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo. The Deputy President of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, Uzo Oluchi, says that they received updates on actions taken to address their concerns during a meeting last Monday. Oluchi stated that it is not something that we can do once, but the reason why we went on strike was that without the strike, they wouldn't have looked into our demands. Now, in another development, NIMET has predicted sunny and cloudy weather conditions with thunderstorms across the country from Sunday to Tuesday. NIMET's weather outlook released Abuja predicted sunny skies on Sunday, while it also forecast patches of cloud and thunderstorms in parts of Gombe, Bauchi, Kaduna, Taraba, and Adamawa State during the afternoon and evening. You are watching the live broadcast of AM News. When AM News returns, Somalia Ministry says suicide bomb kills several at Mogadishu Army Camp. Details coming shortly, plus business and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real-time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Back, and if you're just tuning in, this is AM News on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. In business now, the Federal Operations Unit Zone A of the Nigerian Customs Service Ikeja has warned importers and clearing agents against false declaration as the command tightens the NOS through intelligence-driven operations. The Controller of Federal Operations Unit, Controller Ahmed Shaibu, described this during a courtesy visit by the members of the Shipping Correspondents Association of Nigeria in Lagos, where he noted that an anti-smuggling promised to deploy his wealth of experience to navigate the complexities of the unit and bring to bear intelligence-driven operations rather than stopping containers instantly on the highway. The Consul General of Nigeria in New York, Ambassador Abubakar Jidda, has reiterated Nigeria's commitment to deepening trade and investment relations with the U.S. He stated this during speaking at the 14th Annual Trade and Investment Summit hosted by Nigeria USA Chamber of Commerce in Cleveland, Ohio. Jidda encouraged American investors and the Nigerian diaspora to tap into Nigeria's evolving investment landscape, shaped by far-reaching reforms under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, has called for the formation of deliberate economic policies to drive national growth. He made the call in Abuja while receiving the Presidential Economic Advisory Council Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, led by its Director General Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi. Here is Queen Agaba's report.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, emphasized the importance of the Presidential Economic Advisory Council and the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council
to work closely with the 10th House of Representatives to develop resilient economies capable of withstanding global shocks while strengthening partnerships that advance Nigeria's strategic interests. He praised Nigeria's improving economic outlook, citing Fitch Ratings' recent upgrade of the country's long-term foreign currency issuer default rating from B to B, with a stable outlook, attributing it to ongoing policy reforms, exchange rate liberalization, and subsidy removal. Highlighting legislative efforts, Kalu noted the passage of 4 key tax reform bills by the National Assembly aimed at broadening the tax base and enhancing the investment climate.
That we can chart a course that not only uplifts our current economy, but also strengthens our role as a leader on the world stage, because Africa is a place for the global tomorrow. And the only way you can start the tomorrow is by starting today. And the only way, the window to Africa is the most populous nation, which is Nigeria. So you see, when you work for Nigeria, you work for the sub-region ECOWAS. When you work for Nigeria, you work for the entire continent, Africa. And when you work for Africa, you work for the world.
Earlier, Prince Adeyemi expressed the Council's commitment to partnering with the National Assembly in actualizing President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
On the foreign scene now, Somali authorities and witnesses say several people were killed and others wounded when a suicide bomber thought to be from the Al-Shabaab militant group targeted an army recruitment center in Mogadishu. The Information Ministry said the attacker, disguised as a civilian, reportedly detonated explosive outside the Exro Damayo camp in southern Mogadishu at 9:20 a.m. local time. Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab, which is linked to Al-Qaeda, has claimed responsibility for the bombing. The World Health Organization, WHO, says the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a sharp decline in global life expectancy, reversing a decade of health gains. In its newly released World Health Statistics 2025 report, the Global Health Agency said between 2019 and 2021, global life expectancy dropped from 1.8 years, which is described as the largest drop in recent decades. The organization further stated that global healthy life expectancy fell by 6 weeks during the period, largely due to a rise in anxiety, depression, and other mental health challenges. Pope Leo XIV has set the tone for his papacy with a call to stop exploiting nature and marginalizing the poor at the mass attended by world dignitaries, including Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, and U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. 10 days after Chicago-born Robert Francis Prevost became the first U.S. head of the world's 1.4 billion Catholics, an estimated 200,000 people gathered to see his inaugural Mass in St. Peter's Square. The 69-year-old made his debut tour in a Pope mobile, smiling, waving energetically and blessing the cheering crowd at the Vatican. The Hamas-run health ministry says all 3 public hospitals in North Gaza have been put out of service as Israel continues its offensive to seize areas of the territory. The ministry said Israel forces had besieged the Indonesian hospital in Beit Lahar with heavy fire preventing the arrival of patients, medical staff, and supplies. The ministry noted that the hospitals was the last in the north that had been in operation. Over now to sports now. Ondo State Stakeholders Coalition for Sports Advancement has berated the management of Sunshine Stars FC for prioritizing political vendetta over accountability over the club's relegation from the Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL). In a severely critical response to the management and the club for scapegoating, the former Ondo State Football Agency chairman Akim Bobola, the coalition emphasized that Sunshine Stars managed misfired by failing to address the systematic issues plunging the club raised by Abim Bobola following the club's relegation. Akim Bobola had reeled out issues with aid to the club's predicament. Victor Osimhen has set his sights on clinching the Turkish Super League trophy to complete a historic domestic double with Galatasaray following their epic Turkish club triumph. The last time Gimbum won the Super League and Turkish club double was in 2018-2009 season. At least 37 traders have died in a boat mishap. As we end the AM news, we bring to you that in the Gwabagwa community of Kwara State and in business, the Federal Operation Unit Zone A of the Nigerian Customs Service, Ikeja, has warned importers and clearing agents against false declaration as the command tightens the NOS through intelligence-driven operations. And on the foreign news, Somali authorities and witnesses say several people were killed and others wounded when a suicide bomber thought to be from the Al-Shabaab militant group targeted the Army Recruitment Center in Mogadishu. And finally, in sports, Ondo State Stakeholders Coalition for Sports Advancement had berated the management of Sunshine Stars FC for prioritizing political vendetta over accountability after club's relegation from the Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL). And that's it on Global TV AM News. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. You can download the Global TV Nigeria mobile app for Android and iOS devices to keep track of our broadcast. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning. Do you know that global television can be watched in Nigeria and all over the world?
Download the Global TV Nigerian mobile app for Android and iOS devices to watch global television real time from around the world. What are you waiting for?
Start downloading and stay connected to global television.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews, the latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
The president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Ollie. Go.
You are welcome back, and it's Global Morning, and this is the first discuss of the day. We'll be delving into some of the issues in River State. Now, end of Rivers crisis in sight as Wike insists Fubara remains his political son. Now, he says he's only fighting those inciting suspended governor against him. Now, a lot of issues on this matter, and then we'll just delve into it a little bit. Now, an end to the political crisis in River State, it seems to be in sight as the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has dismissed the feud between him and the suspended governor of the state, Siminalayi Fubara, insisting that Fubara remains his political godson. Wike, who clarified that he was not fighting Fubara but those pushing the suspended governor against him, has also debunked insinuation that he would pick the presidential ticket of the People's Democratic Party to battle against President Bola Tinubu in the 2027 presidential election. And we're going to be talking about these two major issues on Mr. Project. That's the FCT minister, no other person than Nyesom Wike, at about this point. And I am not doing it alone, all the way from Lagos State. I will be doing this with Mr. Blessing Kiribi, and he's joining me via Zoom. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Mr. Blessing.
Good morning. Good morning to you. I'm happy to join you this morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. Can you hear me? Hello.
All right, before Mr. Blessing is on now. Mr. Blessing, good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
All right, it's great to have you on Global Morning. Good morning, this beautiful morning. Now, talking about this particular issue, this political crisis, like we know that it seems that there is an end to the political crisis in River State. It's in sight as the FCT minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has dismissed the feud between him and the suspended governor, no other person than Siminalayi Fubara. How true do you think this is, looking at the tussle back and forth that has been ongoing for a while now?
Yes, this news came on air yesterday, and it was a very sharing news because there's a lot of tension underneath. Nothing was setting for about 2 years. You know, it has been boiling. There have been misunderstanding between Wike and Governor Sim. So when Wike began to talk positively for the first time in almost 2 years, it was a sharing news to everybody, especially those in the Niger Delta, and even to Nigeria at large, because whatever happens to River State will boomerang. Like we know, because of this high tension between the two parties, the president had instituted a state of emergency since March. It's about 2 months now. There have been almost protests on a daily basis until Governor Sim came out last week or so to say his spirit has left the government house, that people should reduce the protest, And so the FC minister, Wike, coming out to say his own side positively that he's not fighting Sim per se, he's fighting those that are instigating Sim against him. This is sharing news because if you follow Wike's antecedent, Wike does not hold anything back. He fires on all cylinders. He does not care who is on the way. He fires everybody. So for a person like Wike to begin to subpedal and to begin to talk with some sense of positivity, then we know that yes, there is really hope at the end of the tunnel. And this hope is good for everybody because River State has been on standstill, you know, and even as we follow up the news, though River State is not the only reason for it, but the oil production, according to the output expected, you know, for this year, has been very low. We're not able to even export up to 1.5 million barrels since this year. It has been very poor. So every positive news that we need, you know, to come out is welcome. And so this news is very much welcome. For there to be peace in River State, for there to be peace in Niger Delta, for there to be peace, even in the polity, because the moment things begin to settle down, then we know that Wike was fighting for his own political sustenance, because he has grown his profile, his prestige, and his ambition to the level that he cannot allow, or he cannot even entertain anything that will come and suppress his ambition. Like we know, every time this presidential ambition always comes up. Like right now, he was even clarifying that he's not going to run against President Tinubu, which everybody knows that he had their ambition. And the moment he does not run against President Tinubu, whoever wins, we take on that 4 years. Wike is already about 56 or thereabout. So he's looking at under 8 years to the north. He's almost late 60s before he will have another opportunity. So the calculations are going very strong. But the bottom line is that Wike wants to be relevant in the next 4 years.
Well, let's look at this issue critically, Mr. Kiribi. Now, don't you think that this is long overdue? Looking at the issues at hand, the back and forth, Fubara, people will say Fubara has been through a lot. Why didn't he directly fire the individuals who are trying to instigate Fubara against him? Why do it if Fubara is his political son? Why would he allow Fubara to go through all of this, the embarrassment of suspending him for 6 months in office? Don't you think he particularly instigated that? That's why our president took this particular initiative to actually suspend Fubara for 6 months, because of all of this back and forth. Before we get to, we're happy that there is peace, but the trauma caused for a president to come out and say that his spirit has left that office, it means that he has gone through a lot when it comes to the psychological effect, the physical effect, the embarrassment. Why would he allow it to get to this point before he comes out and says, quote and unquote, Fubara is still his political son?
Yes, there is power and there is authority. For now, it seems to be that, and to a lot of political viewers, that Wike willed the both of them. Wike is deciding on several fronts. If you watch the political proceedings very well, he's deciding who, what, how, when, and how, everywhere. So he had to show that he had the power. He had to show that he also has the authority. He decides who sits down and who rises up. Now, let me tell you something. In politics, you don't end that in one day. But Wike has shown it, that he has earned it. Right now, he has the authority. He has the power. Right now, he is able to do and undo. Of course, apologies to whether we like it or not, but it is evident. So he decided, okay, he will remove, he will sideline the governor. He sidelined him. He began to change everything that the governor has done. Remove all the local government chairmen, remove all the people, the parastatal in the civil service. He began to put his own people through the sole administrator. So whether we hide it or we do not, whether we deny it or not, it has happened.
But I know it
Governor
has happened.
had no.
But at the same time, I think people forget that these particular decisions have a toll on the people of Rivers State. There's so many back and forth when it comes to division. A lot of people are coming out to protest and all of that. I think most of our politicians, they do not understand that when decisions are made, it takes a toll on the people in which and whom they represent. Don't you think so?
Of course, decisions taken by the oligarchy or the ruling power will go down to the back of the masses. The masses will bear the brunt. Be that as it may, the oligarchy, the ruling power, those in authority, the politicians, they will keep making their own rules. They will keep making decisions that will favor them. In this case, Wike took a decision that will favor him. Besides a president that won, and the president had to stick to him, because others that were in his own party could not give him what this person from opposition gave him. So Wike has a say. There's no gainsaying on that, except this president is not on seat. Then Wike will now lose his power. For now, he has the power. So Governor Sim had no choice than to go and kneel before him with two APC governors and begged him. So now that he has gone to beg, and Wike has started to maybe dictate the tone, okay, make sure you don't do this, make sure you don't do that. My dear Mrs. Jumai, that is how it is. There's no other way. This is politics. So Governor Sim too will be able to begin to amass his own political clout, so that in future he can stand against such a storm differently. So, but if you have not gathered, see, Wike is coming from far. Since around 1999, he has been chairman, he has been chief of staff, he has been several things, and two-term governor. He has been a minister before and minister again now. So he has been able to gather so much clout around Nigeria, so much, so much influence. So that is how politics work. It's a pity, but that is how politics work.
There's this statement that he made when he was speaking with, he was on BBC yesterday when this whole thing came out. And he says, there was something he said, I am not fighting against people who want to, I am only fighting against people who want to steal what they did not work for. Now that statement is really big, looking at the individuals in whom he mentioned. What can you say about this particular statement, really?
Yes, in politics, you keep what you kill. That is in politics. Because politics is about resources. When you are going for a particular office, there are several accruing resources attached to that office. In the case of a governor, there are several key appointments, there are budgets, there are everything. So if a politician, I hope he bought the governorship form for Sim. He picked him.
Yes, he did.
So there are several reasons why he did all this. That is politics. So the moment somebody can come, do all this, there are resources accruing to that office. He must be a partaker. That is how it is. Even in American politics, those that sponsored the president, they get the lion's share in the defense contracts. It's not for free. So now, in a case where Wike had to now fight for this office, and thinking that he got this office for Sim, there is no gainsaying that he must be a partaker of the politics of that office. So anything that comes on his way, he will use his blood to fight it, just like he used. He used the court, he used the legislature, he used everything, he used judiciary. Now he's using the presidency. He used everything within his means to make sure that he's not sidelined. So that is how politics work. So it's for everybody. For everybody to understand how politics work. If you don't want to be part of it, then go and just sit there quietly. But if you want to be part of it, then you must. It's a game. Understand the game and play the game according to the rules, and so everybody can smile at the end of the day.
Now, these individuals that, in words of the FCT minister, are actually pushing the governor of Rivers State, the suspended governor of Rivers State, do you think they're the same people that went behind to advise Governor Sim to go and apologize to his boss, that is the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike?
I will not candidly have that view. The reason is this. Because the people that were instigating Governor Sim, rightly or wrongly, were mainly PDP stalwarts. But when Governor Sim had to go to Wike, he did not take any PDP governor or PDP chieftain or anybody in PDP. He took two APC governors. So I believe Governor Sim, who is an accountant, would have done his arithmetic very well and say, look, these people advise CB, probably rightly or wrongly, but they are not able to help me. So let me begin to look for solutions so that I can begin to write my name properly in gold. Because if the governor is sidelined, first term of the emergency rule is supposed to be 6 months, which can be renewed for like 2 or 3 times, which his whole tenure will be over. So he had to begin to use his tongue to count his teeth and begin to seek relevance politically. For him to grow politically, he needs to be in that office. That is how he can begin to groom his own foot soldiers and structures so that in the next dispensation, he can still be relevant, either as a governor or as a governor maker. So that's how politics works. It's a game. You learn it. You don't just jump into it. If you jump into it, you can crash land. So you take your time and learn the ropes and learn and see the views, see how things are unfolding. If everything unfolding was working out for him, of course, he will not go and beg Wike. He did not go to beg Wike for almost over a year. He did not do that. But by the time he saw that the handwriting on the wall was no more favorable and he was now isolated, he was now a common citizen, only that he still had his immunity because of his tenure is still on. He knew that the future was getting bleak. And at this point, he had to discard every pride and go down on his knees. It is humbling, but this is how it will go in a politics like this in Nigeria. If, for example, things were on the other way around, whereby Wike was not FCT minister, Wike was not this close to the Aso Rock power, then, okay, one-on-one, the governor could have defeated Wike. But with the authority that Wike has so much power in this government right now. So the best thing he could do is to buy time. What Governor Sim is doing is to buy time and grow capacity, grow momentum. So in future, I believe he may be able to fight better and get better outcome with better resources and better support, better overwhelming support across board, with time. But this is politics. That is how the game is played.
Yeah, it's a dirty
so there is
game,
nothing. Yes.
Now let's talk about, there was a particular statement Governor Sim made in the past weeks. He said his spirit has left that governor's seat. Now, do you think his spirit has come back now that he has begged the FCT minister and all is now well? Do you think he's back to take the bull by the horn and do the right thing? Because a lot of speculations that with all of this, before the FCT minister came out, people were like, he doesn't want to leave that Rivers seat. He still wants to be up on his game. He wants to be able to hold the ropes when it comes to issues of Rivers State and still perform as the FCT minister. Do you think that is the case when Siminalayi comes back to give him that clear wings to do what he wants to do in Rivers State?
Yes, Governor Sim is playing his politics very well. He makes statements that does not tarnish his views or his viewers. He makes statements that do not allow his viewers to seem tainted or soiled, which is very good. He makes statements to show that he is for peace. Very, very good. So if I make some calls across River States and I get people's a perception about him, he's well loved. If there's any election today, there is 50% assurance because nothing for sure is certain in politics. But there's 50% assurance that Governor Sim will still win because majority of people love him. They love a governor like him. And right now, it is unwritten, but it is the turn of the judge to be governor. And he's an German. He has been there for almost 2 years, and people love what he's doing. He has been able to take River State to another level whereby they can enjoy what they have been yearning for. And he's also a corporate player whereby he also involved the upland in his government.
Sorry.
And so to that extent, Governor Sim will remain relevant. He's saying that his spirit is no more there. It's a welcome statement because it's like the former president Goodluck Jonathan that said his ambition is not worth the blood of one citizen of Nigeria. So that endeared a lot of Nigerians to him. If you see even the last election that he lost by barely 2 million or less vote with General Buhari, because though the APC came with all force, he was still loved and was still massively voted for. The same thing with Governor Sim. He's taking the right steps, he's saying the right things, and at the right time, I believe, although people are even, there is a speculation that they might be reinstalled this month on the 29th, we don't know. But we still watch to see how things unfold. But with this peace movement, it is more unlikely that he will serve the 6 months tenure. No, it's not likely to stay for 6 months. But there is a new political arrangement which, if he plays his ball right, he will finish his tenure and likely have a second term in office.
Talking about speculations, now a lot of people are speculating that, right, as what you've just said, that Governor Sim might return to office this month. These are the speculations. But another speculation, people also say that with this latest development of Wike coming out and saying that he doesn't have anything against Governor Sim, and Governor Sim is his political son, Governor Sim, at this point, when he's called back, will just act as a figurehead, and FCT minister will still call the shots when it comes to issues of River State. Do you think it's a mere speculation, or people are just, or it's true in your own opinion?
Right now, Governor Sim should be able to look at his own political crystal ball and know where to align. For now, he has to align with Wike. There is no doubt Wike can do and undo. He has shown it. Governor Sim can only imagine what he's going to do next. So it's better he just calm down, work this next 2 years, and nothing is guaranteed for Wike. Nothing is guaranteed, because in Nigeria now, nobody knows who will become the next president. Though everything is tilting towards President Tinubu to have his re-election, but nobody can speak for the masses. The masses, while the politicians are doing their own, they have one vote each. The masses are the vast population, which many of them have not even been voting. From the statistics, only about 25% of registered voters voted in the last election. That means there is at least 75%. Even if we eliminate 5%, there is 70% mass vote that could come out and unseat any president. So there is no real assurance for President Tinubu or Wike. So the next dispensation is very, very dicey. So if Sim plays his card well, he can still be more relevant than Governor Wike after the next election. So for now, he has to just play the fool and count his days and see how things plays out in future. Or else, the other option is very, very tough, which is impossible, to marry the House of Assembly members, which are already married to Wike. They are sworn marriage. So as far as he cannot get the House of Assembly to his side, he better have Wike to his side, because having Wike to his side is the only way to have the House of Assembly to his side. Because if they don't have the House of Assembly to his side, they will keep tormenting him, distracting him, wanting to impeach him, wanting to escalate this. He will not pass his budget, he will not do this. So Wike is a master tactician. He has looked at it. The best way to control the governor is to have the House of Assembly, so which he has done. So for now, the governor has no choice but to tilt towards Wike until the next dispensation, whereby he will now begin to see how he can sponsor some people to go to the House of Assembly if he wants to be governor, because that is the only way it can work. So that is Nigerian politics for you for now.
I know we've always said that politics is a dirty game, but and at the same time, do you think this whole thing would have ended a long time ago? That, it's 2 years now. If Fubara would have actually gone to Wike to apologize and all of this back and forth. I know we're talking about this now. Do you think it would have ended long before now, or the fingers will still be pointed at individuals who are trying to take what they did not work for?
Yes. Yes. Are you there?
Yes, I'm with you. Please go ahead.
Okay, good. The issue is this. For any good politician, they will appreciate what Governor Sim did. You can
Yes.
only test the waters to see what is in the waters, whether it's just a tilapia or a crocodile. So Governor Sim could have been a dummy governor, but it's okay. Let me test the water. Let me see how far I can reach, my reach can go. So he tried it now. He has seen how far it can go. They can just, with one finger, remove him and sit him down for 6 months. So he has tested it. So for now, he has to eat an humble pie and serve his remaining 2 years. Because if he did not test the waters, he would have been, licking his wound and say, maybe if I've tested this thing, it might have made me a real bona fide governor. Because what the governor is fighting for is to be the governor, to be a man of his own. That's just what he's fighting for. Not to be, not a puppeteer, dictating to him. No, he wanted to be a governor. But now he has been shown that no, somebody that put him there has already foreseen all angles and taking charge of anywhere, any route of escape that you could have envisaged, and the person is in control. So for now, he has to just sit down quietly and undo and redo the whole thing by sponsoring people to the assembly, making sure that he sponsors people massively to see that he gets minimum of 50% of people in the River State House of Assembly to his side. That is the only way out, because any governor that enters there, Wike will make sure he still sponsors these people to fight for seats in that House of Assembly, to truncate any governor that does not that does not listen to him. Because Wike wants to be, powerful. And as a politician, if you're not powerful in your ward, your local government, in your state, you are not powerful. If you're only powerful in Abuja, that is not power, because you have no root. So Wike is played his politics well. He's making sure that his fabric is firm, his structures are firm. So anywhere Wike tilt to, he will be a bride. If Wike said today, I want to support, let's say, Labour Party, they will want him by all means, because they have seen that he knows the politics and he knows what to do. So that is why he's able to entrench himself in the Bola Tinubu's government. He's able to play his politics well. He's able to have foothold, and he's able to have a say, and he's able to do what he says he's going to do. So he's able to command so much respect, so much influence, and so much affluence. So for Governor Sim to get out of his, whims and caprices, he has to go and rethink his politics from the basis. You should not just sit for somebody to just make him governor anymore. He should go and play his own game. He should fight his own battles. He should recruit his own soldiers. He should get people to work for him. He should get people to, in the councillorship, in the local government, chairman, and even the House of Assembly, even in the National Assembly, he should have full soldiers there. We can have everybody from River State in the National Assembly, both in the House of Rep and in the Senate. So Wike has played his politics. He has sat down and rethink before he started the moves. So whoever wants to be governor, if it's Governor Sim, he should go back and rethink everything from scratch and play his own politics, get his acts right, so that he should not be just he should not be a remote controlled person or governor.
Exactly.
So that should be the way forward.
All right, Mr. Blessing Caribbean, let's go on a very quick break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about another development that says Wike has debunked insinuations that he would pick the presidential ticket of the PDP. Let's go on a quick break. Global Morning continues shortly. Stay tuned.
I think let me call Juma. She told me 30 minutes. They tell me on that topic. I think let me call. How big, please?
right, you're welcome back. And if you're just tuning in, this is Global Morning. And we're still on the first discuss of the day. And we're still talking about Wike coming out to say that Governor Siminalayi Fubara is his political godson. Now, and of course, I'm not doing it alone. I'm joined by a political analyst, another person that Mr. Blessing Keribi. And Mr. Blessing, now looking at another development, Wike has the bomb insinuations that he would pick the presidential ticket of the PDP to battle against President Bola in the 2027 presidential election. Now, in 1 minute now, what's your take on this?
Politicians cannot be taken by their word. If you follow Wike politics, Wike have said several things that he has later done the opposite. For example, Wike said APC is a cancer and he will never join APC over his dead body or whatever. But today, Wike is, if you can't find people, powerful people in Nigeria or in APC, you must count Wike's name inside. Though it's a game, he's claiming he does not have not carrying cards, but he's wielding so much influence. So to that extent, when Wike tells you that he will not run for presidency or he will not seek for ticket or he will support Bola Tinubu, we can only accept it to the extent that things remain the way they are right now. If things change, a politician like Wike or any other politician will change. So if the scenario change, and in politics, a month, 2 months, 6 months is a long time. With the way things are right now in Nigeria, things can change within 6 months. You'll be surprised. And every politician that are jumping from here, they will jump and they will change all the promises and everything that they have said. So to that extent, Wike has not hidden his desire to be president of Nigeria. He has shown it. Because he has become everything in Nigeria, apart from being an ambassador, probably, or being a vice president or president. So those are the only positions he has not held. He has held virtually everything. He has wielded all the power that could be wielded in those positions. So the next thing Wike wants to be is the president of Nigeria, which he has insinuated and said several times. So to that extent, we know that Wike will, one thing we know is Wike will want to achieve that is ambition. What we don't know right now is when he wants to achieve it. Because somebody that is so, like if you observe Wike, his political ideology is that of a bulldozer. He bulldozes everything in front of him and make sure that he is in front. So that's the way he operates. He does not like to be a follower for too long. He can follow to learn the ropes, and he will abandon that leader and find his own space and his own path. So that's the way he operates. So his antecedent for the past, let's say, 20 years, but cannot just change overnight. Okay, so he will still follow that antecedent with time. Whatever schemes, because he's a strategist, whatever schemes and skills and plans he has, a strategy he has, he will unveil it. It's just a matter of time. So it's just for us to keep observing. Yes.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Blessing Keribi, for being a part of the first discuss on Global Morning. And hopefully, fingers crossed that this peace that has started will definitely remain and the needful is done. There'll be peace, there'll be joy and celebration for River State and, of course, the people of River State. Thank you so much for being a part of the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. You're welcome. Right. Have a nice day.
You too. Thank you. And with that, of course, this is the first discuss of the day on Global Morning. The second discuss continues shortly. Do not go anywhere. It's Global Morning on Global Television. Stay tuned.
Global Morning is your top morning show here on Global Television.
We bring you fresh news updates daily while delving into a variety of current affairs and topics.
A Global Morning aims to deliver newspaper reviews and latest news with experts on key global issues.
And at the same time, keeping you well informed about important events, both national and internationals.
Global Morning serves as a valuable source of information, helping viewers like you start your day well informed.
Stay connected from Mondays to Sundays to a wide range of the latest news making rounds on Global Morning.
We're on the road to protest.
And the president meets all of our demands.
This is Global Morning.
Welcome back from that first discussion. And of course, we are going into the second discussion immediately. It is still Global Morning on Global Television, reaching you live and direct from the nation's capital, Abuja, Nigeria. Of course, we've looked at the first discussion, very intensive discussion, looking at how hot the polity is in Rivers State and the statement that has come from the former Rivers State governor, now the Minister of FCT, saying that Fubara remained his political son, that the people he's fighting, and of course, he said they are the ones instigating Fubara, the suspended governor of Rivers State. But then, that's been done and dusted. Let's look at the education sector. How is the education sector in Nigeria right now? Just recently, we heard of what happened to students that took the UTME exam. And of course, the reaction, everything that happened from there, that's not just it. Where did this thing started from? How is the education sector in Nigeria? Who is monitoring the process? Remember, in case you don't know, one of the amenities that Nigerians need is a part of the things that Nigerians need. Just education, just give us education, all right? It's one of the things that every government do for its citizen. But in Nigeria, how has it been? We'll be looking at all of that. We'll do an assessment of it. But the major area of discourse this morning is the fact that the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, have said that he's saying there is need for the cancellation of satellite campuses because they are not sustainable. We're going to do an assessment of the satellite campuses that we have in Nigeria and also dissect the things happening in the education sector. And I have a public affairs analyst here, also an educationist. He's a prof, and of course, he's going to add his voice to the conversation this beautiful morning. Professor Ibrahim Abubakar is right here. He's an in-house analyst, Global TV in-house analyst, a public affairs analyst, and also an educationist. It's good to have you join us this morning. Good morning. Well, we're looking at the education sector. But before we look at the education sector, can we talk about the statement coming from the Minister of Education saying there is need, okay, for the cancellation of satellite campuses? What's your assessment of that statement?
Well, I think it's not going through the right direction. I know him to be a specialist on nephrology, and being in the medical field, having studied in Nigeria and in America, he will have known better than any other person in how to contain educational system, building on the already templates. And a law and act established these satellite campuses to reduce rate of illiteracy and give people their right to education. The right to education is not a privilege. That is the mistake we make. A right to education is not a privilege. So when you start saying satellite campuses should be totally wiped out or curtailed, I don't know where his thinking are from. Though I don't essentially blame him for such comments because of the way our satellite campuses are, but he is, from a perspective, my own perspective or thinking of him as a person, is he will have been able to put up rules that will guide these satellite campuses.
I for one, I am not blaming him because he's not an administrator, he's not an academic administrator, he's not from the academic environment. He has been in the centers of kidney and hypertension care centers and the rest, and he's a research person, but he's not purely an academician. So I will not put him in the round table thinking that he will have done it well. But before now, we have administrators and managers of education in the ministry. There is no way we will say we don't have administrators and managers of education in the ministries. So if we have this, they will have properly advised him that the route he's following is not right for the country right now. Because education is not just a privilege, but a right.
Okay, education is not just a privilege, but it is a right.
Yes.
Now, he's actually saying this from a point of view. He said it is not sustainable. As a Minister of Education, he may have carried out some assessment, and he discovered that it is not sustainable and it is not efficient. Can you argue that?
Yeah, when he says it's not
sustainable, what makes it not sustainable? These are the key areas. What area of it that is not sustainable that he has been able to address? Because when you say a business is not sustainable, you must look at the business from every angle of it. We have about 5 templates that makes a business not sustainable. We have 5 templates in which a system is not sustainable. So has he followed these templates adequately to make sure that and tell the people that this is not sustainable? If he has not done that, it means that he's just saying it from his varice. When did he resume as the Minister of Education? I think it should be between October and November last year. So at what point has he studied the satellite campus, look at their failures, look at their inadequacies, look at their inefficiencies, and come up with the policy of let's shut down the satellite campuses? I don't think he has done that. The educational sector in Nigeria is so wide that we have not been able to do the needful. Up to today, we have not even classified our institutions. So the institutions are just on parallel line. We need to do the needful first before you start catching the dark end of the day. We have not done the needful and we are catching the dark end of the day. That is the problem we have.
All right. There is this belief. Some people believe that there is a difference. We all know that there is a difference between the campus, the real campus itself, and satellite campuses. More attention, according to what some Nigerians are saying, is more, all right, as the main campus. But the satellite campuses, you hardly have serious monitoring, and people at the satellite campuses are not as serious as the people at the main campuses. And for that reason, some persons don't take their studies seriously, maybe because there is no monitoring, maybe because they have lecturers come do their things and just go. Nobody's on ground to supervise or something, and as a result of that, some people come out of satellite campuses, not all, some, and they are not well equipped to represent whatever it is they claim to have studied in school. Are you of the same school of thought, or you different opinion?
I have a different opinion to that, because one, it is what you put in that you get. What did you impart? As a ministry, we have the evaluation and monitoring
department. These are the people that are supposed to monitor the institutions. What is the real value job of National University Commission? What is the value job of the Board of Technical Education? What is the value job of all these sectors which are under the ministry? They are supposed to regulate, supposed to monitor, and supposed to evaluate. So when these issues are not put into their agenda, then you don't blame the satellite campuses. You cannot come back, your child cannot come back from school and is not monitored at home and put the blame on the teacher or the lecturer. So it is when there is no supervisory system or monitoring system that you see these kind of things to happens. When we were I remember my elementary days here in Nigeria when the chief inspectors of education or the inspectors of education are coming to the school. You see all the teachers, the headmaster, everybody running around to make sure everything goes on well. And sometimes they come unannounced to see the inadequacies. These are the 70s and the type of educations we have from the 60s to the 70s. But today, you find out that nobody supervises anybody. Nobody cares, and the ministry is not doing their own job as administrators and managers. The other sectors under them are not doing the same job, and you are blaming it on the composites. That is not what we need for now. What we need is, what do we do to standardize these institutions? When the standards are there, then nobody will challenge it.
Otherwise, you're trying to say the problem itself is not the...
It's an internal problem.
It's an internal problem. What
Yes.
internal problem are you talking about?
Because
let's do an assessment of the education sector.
Look at it. The universities are being run like private institutions. All the educational sectors are lacking because they are being run like a business, one-man business. So you just see the ministry relaxing as if they don't have supervisory right over the institutions. Even the private schools are supposed to be monitored. The private schools are supposed to be evaluated. People are supposed to be assigned as inspectors, going to these institutions, bringing up reports every day on what is happening around the campuses. Both primary institutions and the rest. And that is why we have intrusional bodies in our institutions today. If the institutions are invaded by court, I even learned that courts are now in secondary and primary schools. So why is it invaded? It's because of the attitude of the institution which we call the Ministry of Education. If they put their feet on the ground and go into modern system of education, modern system of learning, you find out that all these things will not happen. It's just like what happens in JAMB. And let's be very sincere to us. There are a lot of people in the villages who has never seen a laptop or a computer, and you are giving them computer-based test. How did you want them to go by it? So these are the things that we need to standardize, equip our schools, know that every adequate loopholes are filled before we start blaming the composites or the institutions that establish these composites.
So what you're trying to say in essence now, let me take you back to the issue of JAMB, because that issue, that situation has been everywhere, and up to now some persons are still trying to recover from the situation. Now, talking about the issue of JAMB, because we're looking at the education sector, even though the director has come to apologize to say the error came from JAMB. You're talking about the fact that some persons have not seen the computers before, especially students in the village. And these students will also have to sit for the same exam, and it is a CBT exam, that is computer-based test examination. Don't you think, what do you think the federal government should do, all right, to incorporate people like that? Because you can't say, well, because these ones don't know how to operate the computers, it's an excuse for them. They should be given a different exam apart from the UTME, the JAMB that they write. So what do you think? How do we balance this equation? Because they are supposed to be taught, take through the process before the exams.
That is why I said we need to standardize our institutions. That's the first priority. Even allows where it's coming from in the US. There was a time the US degree was not acceptable anywhere. They have to go and understudy another country's system on how to run their educational system. And that is what brought about Harvard. Today, Harvard is one of the best institutions in the world. And that increased the momentum on how America has to go about standardizing their educational system. Yeah, we feel relaxed. If somebody tell you that from 1972 to 1987, five Nigerian universities were among the best 25 universities in the world, and today we are not among 1,600. It is very, 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 very disheartening. But we are taking these things lightly because it may likely not affect some of us. Our children don't school here, so what is my business? What happens to other people? I think that is what is wrong. So coming after because your children are in America and the other people's children are here, closing the satellite campuses, doing this, instead of thinking deeply on what to do and what could be the implementation of these things. There are factors you have to look at. Some of them did not know what is called educational methodology. So because they don't know and because they refuse to know, this is the imbalance we are receiving today. Because it's only what I have that I can impart on anybody. What I don't have, I cannot impart. So when there is a rowdy sessions in the hall, what happened? What is the United Nations policy on education? How many people are supposed to be in my class? Ideally, as a lecturer, as a teacher, how many people do a lecturer takes sometimes in Nigeria? 200, 250, 500 in some cases, because we don't have the policy framework and regulation, and when we have them, we don't implement them.
All right. Part of some of these issues, you know, we're talking about the responsibility of the government. You just talked about how the schools is being run for commercial purpose when you get started. Now, let's look at the area of funding, and because there is no way you can talk about, because you said the education for Nigerians, it is their right, not a privilege, and the government is supposed to make that right work. Now, there is one area that the government is doing well, and that is the funding of tertiary institutions in Nigeria, which is done through the Tertiary Education Trust Fund. In fact, this statement was made by the Minister of Education at the TED Fund stakeholders one-day meeting that they had. And he also talked about the fact that the funding may not go to schools, that don't have students up to 2,000. Because there are some polytechnics, there are some schools that don't have students, okay, up to what other schools have. Then when it comes to funding, these ones are being funded and they want to share part of it. And you know, when this funding is being released to a particular school, you cannot be funding the main campus and still be funding the satellite when you discover that the numbers are few. So what do you think to be done? And the issue of sending lecturers abroad to study, TED Fund has been doing that for research and all of that. I know you are aware. That's the area I'm trying to bring out where the government is playing its role. Don't you think this role and this funding should be enough for whatever that needs to be done at the main campus to be done, instead of spreading into satellite campuses that will not get funding? That could lead to inefficiency. Don't you think so?
Let me come in this way. The funds from TED funds are enough for every institution in Nigeria if well channeled and managed. But when you channel funds to the wrong areas, you don't expect results. The corruption index in TED Fund is enormous. I don't have any reason, I don't have anybody coming to tell me TED Fund has been upright. No. The corruption index in TED Fund is enormous. To me, they are not channeling the funds to areas of priorities. And if they have channeled those funds to areas of priorities, then we will not be where we are today.
When you say
so, what is the impact of TED Fund in most of the institutions? No impact.
But have you been to some institutions in Nigeria?
Very well.
And see the structures?
Very well.
Like you were talking about computers just now.
Yes, if you go to institutions where students are still lacking in equipment, in labs, in so many priority areas, most accredited courses are not well funded. The research funds goes to very few people, if you don't know. So what you'd see in TED Fund is that most of the funds are not channeled to priority areas.
So who do the channeling?
TED Fund executives.
You know how, Bert, this funding is for school, not for individual. And what TED Fund do is, are you saying the real schools are not targeted? Because I've actually done some research. The reason why I'm saying this is because I've done some research. I've spoken to some vice chancellors and of course project officers in some schools. And this morning, and people that were even trained, sent abroad to study and all of that, and they all spoke well. And we saw some structures, okay? This disbursement go to the school. It's left, don't you think it's left for the management of the school to do the channeling to areas?
If I disburse money to you for a reason, do I have the monitoring mechanisms to supervise what you are supposed to use that money for? If that is my responsibility, what happens? And how many executive secretaries have we gotten in TED Fund? And how many of them came in as not having 10 million in their account and left as billionaires?
I don't have the
so these are the things we are talking of. When the money is not well channeled, when we are talking of monitoring and evaluation, there is no monitoring on any of these sectors. there is no record of accountability. Tedford has not told us that this year we have so amount of money and this is the way we spent this money.
But sure, there should be internal auditors.
Internal auditors. You see, let me tell you one thing that makes Nigeria way to some tricks in the past. If I have 1 billion, for example, and it is for a project, and I'm giving account of every penny spent on that project and what we have realized, everybody would applaud me. But when it becomes internal auditors and the rest, what we do here is we do garbage in, garbage out all the time. That, oh, the cost of this is so amount of money, and nobody wants to query that. All they realize is that the teacup which I bought for 100 naira, I can come here and say this 1,000 naira, and everybody agree as far as they have seen the teacup. That is against the basic rules. If you are a member of the Royal Society of Engineers, if I bring that this structure will cost 100 million and another member of that body says no, it can be constructed with 75 million, they will ask technically how to achieve that based on the drawings and estimates. So what is the reason for estimate? Yeah, you just come up and said, I have awarded A, B, C, D to so amount. Nobody, there is no transparency. And in a place where there is no transparency, there is no accountability. It is as easy as that. So unless these bodies becomes transparent to the public, it's our funds, it's our money, it's not their money. So you cannot manage my money as if it is yours. You must tell me in details what you are using these monies for.
Okay, let's get back to...
They are not personal funds. They are not personal finance.
Sure, they are not. But then, I think I think there are people who follow up with the disbursement. And that's why TEDFund go as far as supervising to see the structures put in place. I think in a way, we've done research and we discovered that there are some persons who have actually spoken and we saw structures and all of that.
It's not about speaking because I'm a beneficiary. Those who you spoke with are actually beneficiaries. So when you are a beneficiary, you have every right to speak whatever you want to say.
All right, let's get back to the education sector in Nigeria. How long do you think the educational sector, and what are the key things you feel can be done in the educational sector to make us compete? Well, we are not taking away the fact that we have some very brilliant Nigerians who are doing very well. Even the JAMB that was written recently, we had Nigerians, all right, that did very well, while others had issues and all of that. Apart from the fact that some persons are doing well, though not private, even the public institutions, even the private are doing better because of the money that is being invested there. And like you talk about commercialization, what do you think the government, what are the key areas you feel the government should touch so that in the next 5 to 6 to 10 years, the Nigerian educational system will be better than what it is right now?
We have to map out a roadmap that will build standards, that will build qualitative education. If we don't go through the roadmap to build standard and qualitative education, we also have to build a curriculum that would drive the nation to a greater height. What do we want? Do we want to face the arts and make the nation a body of arts that will generate for us funds? Are we going into technology and engineering? Are we going into science? And what is our major? What is our priority for now? If in an index where you are not having priorities, then there must be a setback. You cannot build up a nation that has no direction, and you don't build academicians that has no direction. We don't have a methodology. We don't have academic warfare. We don't classify our educational system. So, and you should know categories are not inherited even in the minds of a child. So when you go through all these systems, you find out that we are lacking directions. We are principally missing track in our system. So we have to generate a system that has a policy framework, a template that is workable, a narrative that has to change the index, that it is not just about talking, but added advantage by actions.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof, for joining us today on the Global Morning. Well, we've spoken extensively, but the education system, like Prof said, is the right of Nigerians to have quality education. But then what do we have in the real sense of it? And that question is left to you and every individual, including Prof and I and you out there, have roles to play as parents, as students, everyone, every Nigerian have roles to play for us to have a smooth educational system. Many thanks for joining us once again, Prof.
Thank you very much, and thank you to the viewers.
All right, this is going to be the size of the second discussion. Let's go to a quick break. After this break, we will return and we will bring Global Morning to a close for today. Stay with us. Welcome back from that break, of course. You can't take it away that the educational system in Nigeria needs overhauling.
Yes,
a lot of people are playing their part. And of course, the Minister of Education, Tunji Alausa, have said, well, there is need for the cancellation of satellite campuses because they are not productive, they are not sustainable, and it is not efficient. That's what he said. But then our guests differ in opinion, and that's the take home for you. Now we're going to wrap it up. This is what we call it a wrap, as a matter of fact.
And of course, now let's quickly mention about the first discuss of the day, speaking about the feud, that there is no feud in River State. It has actually come to an end, thank God.
It has come to an end?
Yeah, by the grace of God, because of course the FCT minister came out on BBC Pidgin and says
Governor Simonalayi Fubara is his political son, so there is no issue. All is well, all is forgiven. He's just targeted at people who are influencing him negatively, who want to eat where they did not serve.
Well, I feel it's not over until it's over.
Well,
if you want to say the feud is over, then we need to see Fubara reinstalled back as the elected governor of Rivers State.
Of course, we will be seeing that, but at the same time, let's just thank God that at least peace is brewing, which is the most important thing and the way forward. And at this point, we're wrapping up the program Global Morning today. Of course, is the Tag Team Monday, and thank you all so much for being a part of the program. I am Jumai Manzin and my amazing co-host.
My name is Ramsiano Kagbo. Many thanks for staying with us. Don't forget that coming up next is TalkSport on Global Television.
And from Ramsey and I, we say...
Have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Welcome to Global Morning.
The death toll from flooding.
Most time our politicians just bring in policies too, for sure. Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call the police station, before they even leave, they take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
We struggled as a strike.
Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.